Now, the Housing Ombudsman Complaints Code defines a complaint like this. It says a complaint is an expression of dissatisfaction, however made, about the standard of service, actions, or lack of action by an organization, its own staff, or those acting on its behalf, affecting an individual resident or a group of residents. So that, I mean, it's a fair definition. There's not really anything you can argue about there, but it does put a lot of pressure on the housing association and its complaint handling process. So for example, that however they make the complaint, it counts as a complaint. That puts a lot of pressure on your ability to collect and collate complaints. Because by that definition, if somebody writes you a letter and complains that way, that is a complaint. If somebody tweets negatively about your service and doesn't even tag you in it, doesn't say anything about it has to be at you, that would technically be a complaint. Technically, if someone was to yell an angry comment at one of your workers from a moving car, that is an expression of dissatisfaction. So how are you going to pull together all the different ways in which somebody might express dissatisfaction in order to ensure that that complaint gets the attention it deserves? So that's the first challenge within that. The second challenge is around that second orange bit. The complaint can be made about your organization, your own staff, or anyone acting on your behalf. Now, we've seen a huge and a really incredible move within housing towards welcoming complaints, towards trying to gather them, and towards trying to act on them. But all of your contractors, everybody who works for you, also has to be able to both receive a complaint and act on a complaint. So how do you ensure that that is happening across not just your organization, but everybody who works with you? And then finally, that first bit, an expression of dissatisfaction, is quite a broad term. It incorporates all kinds of different elements. Somebody complaining about the color of their wallpaper is not the same as somebody complaining about damp and mold. So how do you go about ensuring that you are prioritizing the ones that really matter? You might think there's a certain number of subjects that you need to keep an eye on, which is absolutely true, and we know what a lot of them are around fire safety, around damp and mold, but you never quite know what the next one's going to be. Just recently, there's been a huge amount of press attention around carpet. Now, that's probably not something that many of you had on your list of key issues that you had to keep an eye on. But that kind of thing can come from nowhere. So within that framework, within the pressure it puts you on your complaint gathering, the pressure it puts on consistency across you and your suppliers, and the pressure it puts you on prioritizing that data, it pulls out a few key questions and a few key challenges. So how do you get your complaints into a usable workflow? How do you prioritize, report on, and evidence those complaints regardless of where they come from? And how do you know what the best practice is, both within housing and beyond?